stay positive and not get weighed down by the sheer time it takes to build a reputation as an author. That's what I'm really trying to do, hopefully, is that my books are fun, they're good mysteries, and they're great for reluctant readers. That's what I'm hoping over time will happen, where you become that sort of automatic buy, where someone hears, oh, Fleur has a new book out, I'm going to buy it because I know it's going to be good because she wrote it. That's essentially what you're hoping for, as far as your 5-year, 10-year plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, difficult to create that if you're a debut author.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't envy, especially now, because the marketplace gets smaller and it's crowded. Like you said, it is difficult to keep up with all the books that are coming out. Just every Tuesday, which is generally when new books come out, I am simply overwhelmed trying to make sure that I keep up with all the friend authors who have books out, because I want to support people and I want to help them out and go, hey, happy book birthday. But there are so many books coming out every Tuesday. So it gives you an idea. Every Tuesday, there's a new batch of books. You can't expect people to read all of them, unless they are speed readers. There's a few reviewers where I'm like, wow, you must be reading all day long. But, in general, most of, not all, we just can't read everything and appreciate everything. So like you said, you can't be precious about your book. You have to be practical.
Well, that being said, everyone should read every book that comes out. What are you doing, people? Get on it.
We wish, right? We wish. Oh, gosh.
Obviously, you want to focus on controlling what you can control, and when it
Yeah.
comes to building word of mouth, even if you went around personally to every person that ever read your book and just like burst in while they're reading and it's like, tell all your friends, that's still probably not going to be effective. Obviously you're a marketing genius because you're on this show, but what have you found to be the most effective ways to market both yourself and your book to create that long-term reputation?
Gosh, I try to make connections all the time. So it's better not to think of it as marketing, but more as I'm making friends. I'm getting to know people who are reviewing, people who librarians in middle grade, or middle school librarians, or elementary school librarians. I'm getting to know all those people on Twitter, and then listening on, what do they need? What how can I help? And that's every day when I log on to Twitter. I'm not going, oh, let me promote my book, because that's the worst thing to do. If you are an author out there, just don't do that. It's useless. But look for ways to help other people, because if you help someone else, when it's your turn to need help, they will step up and help you back. So it's a lot about that, and it's about making friends and connections. And sometimes I talk about my cats, and sometimes I talk about what I'm writing, and it's about the human factor, um, and just going out there every day making connections, which is a nice thing anyway, because like I'm a full-time writer, so I'm home, behind my computer by myself with my cats, all the time. So it's good to be out there and just talk to people, and even if it's just a little line on Twitter or Instagram, or wherever I am. I'm mostly active on Twitter, just platform that I move easiest on. Um, but it is more about making one connection at a time, helping other authors. Whenever I get panicky about, oh, is my book going to sell? Are people going to like it? I think to myself, take a breath and go help someone else, because that's better energy spent than sitting around thinking that, oh, everyone should read my book. It takes time to build a reputation, and to build a momentum for your book. And the better way to do it is simply to help other people. And it feels way better anyway. I'm way happier going on Twitter going, hey, let me see you. If, that debut author friend of mine who had a book coming out last month, and I haven't heard anything about it anymore. Let me do a quick shout out so they, keep that book alive. Stuff like that. It doesn't take a lot of effort to really make someone's day. And that's what I focus on every day, is try to do one nice thing at a minimum for someone else. And then, you feel better anyway. And then the book is going to do what the book is going to do. You never know. Like Midnight at the Barclay Hotel was successful. Um, largely a lot because I did oodles of virtual school visits during COVID. So then it gains momentum. But that's all, you know, showing up every day. You have to show up and be the best person you can be, and then good stuff comes to you. I'm a big believer in that.
I am as well, but of course, I always have cynical thoughts where I have to entertain the other side as well. And um, like for example, I will ask people, what's the best way to market the book, and they say, write the best book you possibly can, and fair. But I don't think, with very few exceptions, have I met authors who didn't think their book was the best possible book. Because of course you do. You put your name on it. It's your book. You could have written about anything. This is the one you chose to write.
Mm-hmm.
And to your way of seeing things, it is the best book ever, and the rest of the world is wrong. Fair enough. I empathize completely. I am that way. But I have had the experience, not to ever complain, because I have had far more wonderful interactions with authors than I ever would have thought possible. Authors are the best people on earth, and they have no complaints. They've treated me well. However, this is going to sound a little bit like a complaint. It does annoy me, just a simple thing like, if we'll do an episode of this show without calling out anyone specifically, this is a fair amount of time to prepare for a show, record a show, edit a show, put it out there, promote it. I've given you whatever platform I have available. It is my house is your house. My platform is your platform.
Yeah.
That's worth when I do it. And then an author can't be bothered to tweet the link, can't be bothered to share it. I will never publicly say that hurts my feelings, but just without calling out anyone specific, of course it hurts my feelings. How do you navigate? Because you have been, I've seen you online, you are very supportive of all sorts of authors, and not every author is going to reciprocate that. How do you square that versus how you could have spent that time, which is, I don't know, watching Netflix, whatever fun thing you might have done instead? How do you keep that from getting you down a bit, or is this just a me problem, not a you problem at all?
I think my investment per author is a lot less than your level. I mean, if I were in your shoes, that would tick me off pretty significantly if someone did not support what I was doing. I don't know that it's, some people just don't know how to use their power, or how to engage on social media. So sometimes it's a simple case of that, where I know how to do that. I'm comfortable just sort of chit chatting. For me, Twitter is like my water cooler. I take a break and I go see what's going on, and I have a silly talk about cats or books or writing or whatever it is. We're just being human beings. If I'm supporting someone, I for me it's not a huge time investment, and then I just move on. I think the hardest part for me now is more on the side of, I can't do everything I want to do anymore. Sometimes people don't respect you. It's really just about respecting your time, is what you're talking about. And I've had that happen where I've invested a lot of time to help someone, and then I don't really get back what I think is appropriate, thank you, or just sort of that person doing something back for me. But it's balanced out by the people who are really amazing. So I try to not dwell on the negative too much, because it's just bad for the soul, and it starts to fester. And then I sort of drop when I catch myself getting bitter, because this industry is just really tough. So it's very easy to get a little bitter, or to see someone else's success, or to see that, hey, this person's doing absolutely nothing when they have all these followers, and they could easily, kind of help me out in turn, because I just invested XYZ time or whatever. I try to kind of take a step back then and go, you know what? I'm going to focus on the positive and on the things that were really nice. And a lot of the time what will happen then is sort of the universe giving me a nice nod back, is I'll get a really nice email from a teacher or something with a bunch of kids in a picture with my book, or there'll be something really nice where I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. And this is what I want to spend my time on. And this is why it's worth it. Because for instance, for me, in a similar way to you, when COVID hit, I didn't have really any opportunities to promote Midnight at the Barclay Hotel. And I had seen from my Double Vision series how hard it is to get any foothold when you have books coming out, and you're hoping everybody will buy it, but sometimes that buzz just doesn't happen. And writing the book, that best book that you can, is not enough. It just isn't enough. It's nice to think that, but it doesn't work like that. So I knew that Midnight at the Barclay Hotel I needed to do something, and I was stressing out, and then I realized, you know what? The teachers and the kids and the librarians have it way harder. There were, everyone was teaching from home. It was just a hot mess, and I was here worrying about a book. So that was a really good moment for me to sort of go, you know what? Forget about the book. I'm just going to do what I can to be the best human that I can and offer my virtual visits for free. And I think I did like 120 of them during that school year. And I just had fun. I forgot about promotion and that real tension of have to and all of that stuff. I just focused on the kids and, trying to put good things out there. And it sounds a little hippy dippy, but I really do believe in, put good stuff out there. Good stuff will come back to you. And if nothing else, you feel better anyway, because you're just more focused on giving rather than, what you're not getting. But I think you're perfectly entitled to be a little ticked if someone doesn't do their promotion side. Just to circle back to that particular part of the conversation, I would be mad too. And then, but publishing is a small world. And what happens then down the road is that you can sort of remember, oh yeah, that person, I think I'll step away and go talk to these people over here rather than to this author because they're not such a pleasant person. So, eventually it all evens out, I think.
Well, in all fairness, I always also try to bear in mind that this is a free show. If somebody showed up and participated, hey, that's already a pretty big investment. And also, I hope that I'm saving up enough positive karma or whatever that when I do something stupid, and I will, I've been me my whole life, I can see it coming a mile away. Sooner or later, something dumb's going to happen. That people will remember all the good things and be like, you know what? On the whole, this guy's nicer than he is.
Yeah.
We're going to give him a little bit of credit during this difficult time when he's
Exactly. Yeah.
I 100% empathize, because I felt for the authors who had their debut novels coming out right there, had events scheduled in March of 2020 when the world's falling apart and so on. And I understood the two poles, because yes, the daily death toll is what all the businesses are shut down, what's happening. But my book feels like a relatively minor thing in the face of all that. But I get it. You focus all of your heart, your whole life. A person who's got a book in their hand, that is not everything that a person is, but it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you feel like, you're failing before you even start. And some of the books got pushed back. There was that. And gosh, yeah, I mean, debuting, it's still really hard to be a debut author, to try to get any kind of traction, to get for people to even notice you in this giant sea of books that is being put out. So yeah, you have to focus on the stuff you can control. But still, that was, and it still is, very challenging time for debut author. It's challenging for me, and I'm 5 books in, and if you count the nonfiction books that I wrote, I'm a dozen books in, and it's never any easier. It's never any. I think you just learn from your experience what works and what doesn't work, and you learn that it's a long game. Everything the promoting of books, particularly in middle grade, is just a long game. You have to really focus on not just that first blitz of promotion when it comes out, but beyond that.